waste is a huge global problem. Roughly 1/3 of the food produced in the world for human consumption every year, approximately 1.3 billion tons, gets squandered, and that's according to the United Nations. Every year, consumers in rich countries waste almost as much food as the entire net food production of sub-Saharan Africa. About 30 to 50% of all food bought in developed countries is actually thrown away by consumers. And joining us to discuss this issue is Danielle Nierenberg, a co-founder and president of Food Tank. Danielle, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So as we saw those UN statistics very staggering in a recent report by the London-based Institute of Mechanical Engineers reconfirming those, saying that 30 to 50% of the food produced every year around the world is wasted. Why is this happening?
Food is wasted for so many reasons. In poor countries, food is lost and wasted because of poor infrastructure. Simply the lack of roads or proper storage facilities leads food to be wasted before it gets to market. In rich countries, between the Thanksgiving and New Year's holidays, we'll waste around 5 million tons of food, and that's just in a few short months. That's because we buy too much, we don't understand expiration dates, and we don't know how to use leftovers or control our portion sizes.
Now, Danielle, you mentioned expiration dates, and apparently there's a mass misinterpretation of the date labels that go on food, and that is, as you say, leading to a huge amount of waste. So apparently the expiration date or the best if used by date is not really an indication of when the food goes bad?
Absolutely. It's ironic, but those numbers and dates that you see on the food that you're buying at the grocery store don't mean much. There aren't federal regulations in the United States that regulate what these dates and these labels really mean. So consumers are really confused, and also retailers are confused. And so this leads to a lot of unnecessary food waste.
So which countries waste the most food?
You know, it's hard to say the numbers on food waste. You said 1.3 billion tons. Those numbers are a little bit squishy. It could be more. It's likely a lot more. But the United States is a big culprit in all this. We waste 40% of all the food that is manufactured and grown in this country. And, you know, again, it's because we don't really value food. Food in the United States tends to be very inexpensive, so we don't really consider it a valuable resource.
Well, beyond the squandering, the food wastage has other very negative impacts beyond the wasting. What are some of the other issues that result from this in terms of environmental impact?
It's true. Food waste is just not a moral conundrum. It's also an environmental problem. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency cites landfills as the third largest source of methane emissions in the United States. Methane, as you all know, is a very powerful greenhouse gas, and food waste is contributing to a lot of that methane.
So overall, what can we do? What can we do to prevent this? What is the solution? Is it tighter regulation? Is it penalties? Is it greater awareness? And is somebody tackling this?
Absolutely. Food waste is like the low-hanging fruit. So much can be done both on the retail and manufacturing side, on the producer side, and also on the consumer side. You know, learning how to use food better, trusting our senses rather than expiration dates. The United Nations, through its Zero Hunger program, has really taken on the issue of food waste and wants to reduce food waste to zero over the coming decades. So there's a lot can be done, but it just needs to be done on all levels.
Is it something that governments should be doing, private initiatives? Are we making any progress on this?
Absolutely. I think we're making a lot of progress. Over the last 10 years, a lot of great organizations have really come to put real numbers to the food waste issue. The Natural Resources Defense Council, Feeding the 5,000, many other groups. And so I think that with greater awareness and greater understanding of the real issues around food loss and food waste, a lot can be done. But governments, retailers, and manufacturers, and all of us as consumers really need to take the lead on this.
All right. Thank you so much, Danielle Nierenberg, co-founder and president of Food Tank. Certainly food for thought.